Oh, I've had it with the Trump administration and its relationship with Ashli Babbitt and her family. Ashli Babbitt was taken out by a Capitol Police officer because she had the misfortune of having been successful to break into the Capitol, get to the Speaker's hallway, break through a window, bashing it with either an axe handle or something she had brought with her, with a fomented mob of 4 or 5 other people, which she didn't know. But what the officer, the police officer, Lieutenant Michael Byrd, did know is that there were still elected officials that she had stumbled on payday for January 6ers. They had found a hallway that they had not yet cleared the chamber of elected officials and staffers, and the only thing that stood between Ashli Babbitt and certain blood on her hands and assassination was Michael Byrd and a handgun and a sidearm. That's it. And everyone, and I love when Ashli Babbitt's family puts up photos of her, having a cocktail and, and some vacation. Well, that wasn't the Ashli Babbitt, and we have photos. That wasn't the Ashli Babbitt that day. Former military who broke through the Capitol. And if she had gotten down that Speaker's hallway to the chamber with 5 or 6 other people in tow, what do people think would have happened? They would have been hugging and kissing. They would have been handing out flowers, or they would have put their arms and hands and anything they could find at the heads of elected officials and tried to brain them. This was an armed and dangerous crowd. Michael Byrd there should be a statute built for what he did to save democracy and to save elected officials from being assassinated. But instead, the Trump administration is going to settle a $30 million lawsuit with Ashli Babbitt's family. I'm here to talk about it on the MeidasTouch Network. Let's talk about it. I've done hot takes at length about Ashli Babbitt and her family. Ashli Babbitt's family is successful in one way. They were able to make her an instant martyr. And they always show those pictures of her with some cocktail, smiling. That's the Ashli Babbitt they remember. Well, that may have been Ashli Babbitt before that day. But on that day, she was a rabid animal. You can see it in her face as she's bashing the window, right? And she made it all the way, maybe because of her military experience. She made it all the way to that hallway. And because of the fact that the rest of the mob of 1,800 or 2,000 were tying up the rest of the Met Police and the rest of the Capitol Police, the only person in the Speaker's hallway before they got into the chamber was one guy with a gun, Lieutenant Michael Byrd. That's it. He didn't have backup. He didn't have barricades. They had broken through the barricades, And now you're Michael Byrd. You hear that the line is broken outside. You hear that there are thousands of people streaming and pouring into the Capitol. Some of them are defecating literally in the Capitol. Others are screaming for Nancy Pelosi's head on a pike. They're building a gallows outside. There's blood on the streets. People have died already. And it's just you, a hallway, elected officials not yet cleared, and Ashli Babbitt, who's now bashing a window to break through a locked door in order to get in. What would you have done? You would have done exactly what Michael Byrd did, what Lieutenant Byrd did. And he's been cleared of all charges, but to Ashli Babbitt's family, she's a martyr. It's somebody else's fault. She was a nice person. She might have been. She might have been, who knows? I don't know. She probably might have brought cupcakes to people all the time. She might have knitted or crocheted Afghans for people. She might have been very good to her grandmother. But on that day, she, with malice, a malice of forethought and darkness in her heart, was about to break through and had successfully broken through that line. And the only thing between her, so let's flip it around. What did they expect Michael Byrd to do? Nope, you got me. There's the hallway. Have at it. All the elected officials are still in there because we haven't been able to clear them. They were still belly crawling in the chamber. They were still looking. What were they going to defend themselves with? Pencils? These are elected officials. These aren't MMA fighters. This isn't Mortal Kombat. So you've got this crazed mob of former military trained in hand-to-hand combat, bringing their own weapons. She's wearing a backpack in the front. She's got a hat on. She's bashing the window with anything she can find, with a face on her that doesn't say, "Hi, I'm Ashli Babbitt, and this is my cocktail on TikTok." It's saying, "I want to get through this hallway. I want to take out whoever I find, and I want to get to elected officials." And what is she going to do? I'm going to give them a good talking to? I want to sit down and have a dialogue with them? No. They would have killed, strangled, maimed, or worse, tortured elected officials. We would have had, people don't realize how close we were. If that Met Police and Capitol Police hadn't done beyond their job in finding ways to protect the Capitol, which is their primary focus, the Capitol building and the people inside of it, we'd be talking about Jan 6th, about 5 elected officials were killed today on January 6th. 4 staffers were killed today on January 6th. Vice President Pence was killed today on January 6th. Josh Hawley, running down the hallway or running out the back of the building, was killed today on January 6th. It would be like that. It would be like Gabby Giffords getting shot during a campaign stop. But it wasn't that way because of the quick thinking of people who led, they knew the building better than the attackers, led the insurrectionists away in a goose chase in order to buy time, right? We had Officer Goodman and others who did their jobs, using whatever skills they had at the moment, any survival skills. And now you're Michael Byrd, Lieutenant Byrd, and you're trained to protect at all costs the building and its occupants, which are elected officials and staffers, the seat of our democracy. And you're the only one at that door. And the rest of your colleagues are tied up outside because they're battling medieval style Jan 6ers who have picked up anything, brought with them weapons, guns, knives, bear spray, baseball bats, flagpoles, and if they didn't, they did makeshift, grabbed anything they could and made it into a weapon, including the law enforcement's own weapons. And or they took their shields and beat them with their shields. They took their batons and beat them with their batons. And that's all going on outside. As you hear your fellow colleagues say across, the walkie-talkies, the line has fallen, the line has fallen. Yeah. And now you're it. You look around and you know that your colleagues have not gotten the elected officials and staffers out of there yet. It's still not clear. And you're it. And you see Ashli Babbitt and her crazed mob, fomented, whipped up mob coming through that door and having broken that glass. And you've got a sidearm and you've got a responsibility. What do? But to Donald Trump, she's a hero because they all have to be heroes in his story. In his narrative, in his movie, everybody's a hero. He's a hero on the ellipse. They're all patriots and heroes. Nobody committed any crimes, nothing to see here, despite thousands of hours of video footage that judges have seen, jurors have seen, lawyers have seen, prosecutors have seen when they worked under Joe Biden. No, we're going to whitewash all that. That didn't happen. I'm a hero. They're a hero. We're all heroes. Nobody died. That's a lie. Police officers and law enforcement weren't beaten and maimed and abused and put on disability, or worse. That's a lie. We had suicide. We had people taking their own life, the unlived, if you will, who were law enforcement because of what they saw that day. And this is who you settle with? Because you have to check off another box of promises that you made? What, that's your big base of voters, your Jan 6ers? It's just depraved what we're watching this country and have its values and the entire face of this country changed by what it means to be an American by one Donald Trump. I'm glad you're here on the MeidasTouch Network. It is important. Coming off a law day, we're all looking for ways to be in the resistance, to be the foot soldiers to protect our Constitution and our constitutional republic. It's not just lip service. It's not just words. It's important that we together in fellowship here speak truth to each other on the MeidasTouch Network and, of course, on Legal AF. I'll continue to do it. That's my personal oath and promise to you. I will never be stopped. I am relentless to protect democracy and our rule of law, period, and call it out without blowing smoke or sunshine. I'm glad you're here. Follow us on Legal AF, the YouTube, and Legal AF, the podcast, only in collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network. Until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.